Hi everybody, it's Susan with Let'sFeelExcellent.com, and I'm going to show you today how to eat this whole half a watermelon in one day. So first of all, we'll get into it, but I'm going to also tell you why I would want to do it. So I'm going to take a sharp knife and start to cut it up. So I'm not only going to tell you how, but I'm going to tell you why. So why would I want to do this? Actually, for me, I'm going to eat 10 pounds of this watermelon in one day. 10 pounds is going to give me about 1,500 calories. It's a nice, juicy, it's not an organic watermelon, I couldn't get that, but it's a nice, juicy, ripe watermelon. So, I want the nutrients. It's going to give me most of my nutrients, but actually I'm eating it to rebuild my tissue. I'm eating it to rebuild my tissue all over my body, and I'm doing it to cleanse out the debris and toxins that don't need to be in there, and I'm doing it to allow my body to function better. As you can see, I'm not taking off this white part. I'm just taking off the green part of the rind, just like that. You don't have to get crazy about it. This part I can actually eat too, and but I don't want to. It's kind of like digesting anything hard like broccoli, even lettuce. We can't really digest the cellulose in it, but I'm just going to take it off. I could eat it. I could crush it up and have it in my salad. There's a benefit to it. There's nutrition in it, same as in the watermelon itself. And in this white part here, there's also benefits. So why throw that away? So I'm going to take that off. Just because I need it, I have enough fiber, I don't really need this part. Now what I could do with this, if I had acne, I could use this as a poultice and put it on my skin, and it's very, very good for the skin as a topical. So I could do that. I don't have acne anymore, so I don't need to do that. So that's going to benefit my compost, is what that's going to do. So I'm almost finished with this. And like I said, you know, with 10 pounds of this watermelon, I don't really need all that fiber. But I do need the nutrients. And what nutrients I'm not getting, like it's not going to give me, it's going to give me about 66% of my fat, actually, in this watermelon. It's going to give me almost 200% of my water, if I can absorb all that. I'm not going to be able to absorb all that, I know already. And so what I'm going to do is that's going to actually work to get my kidneys filtering more, and it's going to wash through my system, and that's going to be a really good detoxifier. So what I'm going to do, I have a really old Vitamix. See, it's an antique. It's metal. And you can use a blender if you want, and I'm going to show you how to use this old Vitamix. But if you had a newer Vitamix, you wouldn't have to cut these pieces so small, and you wouldn't have to do what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to put the pieces in there. And you could also put this rind in, but I'm saving the rind. The rind's going to be more like my salad, so I'm going to make those really small, and I'm going to have those later. In another video blog, I will teach you how to make Oriental watermelon rind salad, which is excellent. But I'm doing, I'm eating this watermelon because it's seasonal for one thing, because it's nice and ripe, it's vine ripened, And it's also going to cleanse and rebuild my tissue. And I'm going to share, I've been already doing this a little while, and I'm going to share some of my experience with you. Whoops. Okay, so that one will go compost. It's been really, really crazy. So I've been doing this, and at first, you know how they say this rind part here will give you a stomach ache? Did you ever grow up and have that myth? Well, I did. Don't eat the white part, don't eat the green part, of course, because it'll give you a stomach ache, right? Well, actually the red part is what will give you a stomach ache because it's such a powerful detoxifier. The red fruits are really astringent. And what I mean by that is they go right to work and they rebuild your tissues, literally. Now, I had this experience, so I was eating the watermelon, and at first, you know, the pieces were, it was just really difficult to get it room temperature, and to, you have to have like small pieces because it's so juicy that you want to start digesting it in your mouth. That's where the first part where you want to start digesting any fruit, anything really, but fruit especially, because your body can use the fructose and the glucose right there. And part of it will go right to the kidneys, and part of it will go right to your digestion. If you don't do that part, then it winds up in your stomach, and it's really, really, really has a hard time there, especially if the fruit is cold. Watermelon retains cold, so you know, you might have a little bit of trouble there. So what I do is I mix it with my saliva in my mouth. Is the best way I can put that. So you want to make sure that you're doing that and have small pieces. And then what happened to me is I started, at first eating the watermelon was great. All the red fruits, you know, they're pretty good. And then in short time, it started to rebuild the stomach acid in my stomach. And it was the first thing. And so I would get a stomach ache. This kind of sicky, gut-wrenching pain. And I would have a stomach ache for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then the sicky, gut-wrenching or wrenching kind pain would move to a different area. So, you know, might have moved to my intestines, and then it might move to different places, like it was in my kidneys and adrenals. So I knew it was rebuilding there. And the cool thing about it was, you know, it was hard to work with. It was hard to function during these, because it was like a stop me kind of pain, and that was really hard to work with. But if I stuck it out, you know, I just kind of had to, I wanted to like stretch or move in certain ways, not to really alleviate, but sort of to help it do its thing. So I did that, and then it moved from my stomach, like I said, to different organs, and it started to go into my kidneys and adrenals. And at one point, it had the whole of my lumbar spine up into my thoracic, like from the core of the spine out. And there was like a lot of pain, but I knew it was rebuilding the tissue, which is what I want. I want to rebuild my spine. You know, I have some degeneration there, and I want to rebuild it. So then afterward, which was cool, after it would finish or start to finish with these areas, there'd be this sensation of warmth. There'd be this sensation of heat. So that was really neat. And then I knew it was like coming to an end. And it wasn't like, oh, it wasn't like a flu or anything. Like, oh, great, that was over. But now you know, that's finished now. I'm not having to be so finicky about how I eat the watermelon. I'm not having these pain sensations. And it's just great. So I can do a 1-day watermelon fast or longer and not have any discomfort at all. And if I do, I know it's just rebuilding the tissue. So why else do I want to eat watermelon? This puppy's loaded with potassium. And I even found in my research some sites that said that you can get too much potassium from eating watermelon. And well, you know, I don't know anybody that, except for the raw fooders, that eat watermelon like this in large quantities. And I've never heard of anybody that's happening to anyone. And also, you know, if you have too much of anything except for like vitamin A, you know, you're gonna most likely pee it out. So that didn't happen to me. I still have plenty of room to absorb more potassium, and all it did was make my absorption better by eating the red fruits and the watermelon. Okay, so I'm going to cut the rest of this up and then show you what we're going to do.